Across the Center East, a difficult acknowledgement is unfolding: there will be no perfect détente to threats. A half-year prior, Hussein al-Auda had a steady employment with a major global non-legislative association, NGO, another child, two inquisitive and sharp more seasoned youngsters, and a little house in Gaza City. Presently, the 37-year-old is distant from everyone else in Rafah, Gaza's southernmost city, living in a half-neglected block of pads, taking care of his old guardians. He went through his time on Earth investment funds to get his significant other and kids and out of the area to Egypt, and is living on tinned beans gave out by the very, presently striving NGO that he worked for. His vehicle and home were obliterated in an airstrike, and one more assault killed 12 individuals from his more distant family. In spite of the likelihood that an UN goal requiring a finish to threats may ultimately be passed, and with circuitous discussions in Qatar about a truce among Hamas and Israel proceeding, Auda figures no genuine harmony will come soon. Everything has an end, yet, at its end, which is far away, another conflict will start, he told the Eyewitness. Among Israelis, Palestinians, and across the Center East, a sluggish and excruciating acknowledgement is making progress. Right around a half year after the unexpected assaults by Hamas that set off the conflict in Gaza, it is presently turning out to be certain that there will be no day later. Many are currently persuaded there will be no perfect finish to the threats that at first killed in excess of 1,100 Israelis, for the most part regular people, in Hamas assaults into Israel in October, then something like 32,000 in Israel's following military hostile. Moves to bring a truce might prompt a transient delay before brutality and the intense compassionate emergency in Gaza proceed, though at a maybe lower beat in power, potentially long into the future. The détente being talked about in Doha would keep going for quite some time. Hamas has dropped its emphasis on a distinct consent to advance through stages to a long-lasting truce. This would have permitted the Islamist assailants to stay in charge of a piece of Gaza for a long time to come, thus pronounce a triumph on the premise that of some sort or another, assuming that a regular armed force necessitates to win, an extremist power needs just to make do. Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's state head, has let his mediators know that a 6-week starting delay is okay, and demanded Friday that Hamas might be crushed once Israeli soldiers enter Rafah, where 1 million dislodged individuals including Auda are shielding, to obliterate the association's final cognizant equipped power and track down its chiefs. On the off chance that the U.S. wouldn't uphold this attack, Israel would do it single-handedly, Netanyahu said. Many trepidation that this is definitely not a sound reason for a super-durable finish to the contention. I want to believe that we won't be in an endless loop of assaults, then, at that point, Hamas recovers, then, at that point, more assaults, or it won't be an ever-finishing story, said Naomi Newman, a meeting individual at the Washington establishment, who previously filled in as top of the examination unit at Israel's Security Administration, Shin Bet. Nor, many guide laborers on the ground and in the area presently accept, will there be any unexpected rebuilding of a similarity to arrange in Gaza, regardless of whether there is a truce that holds. Help wouldn't flood into the region, however a faltering nozzle of compassionate help may simply convey to the point of keeping most, yet presumably not all, individuals from starving. There will be no prompt beginning of a period of remaking of the urban communities of Gaza, either simply a finish to their orderly destruction. The sheer size of the helpful need is yet to be understood, many say. James Sr., representative for UNICEF, last week depicted the enormous congestion on Gaza's seaside street, one of only a handful of exceptional existing lanes in the region usable by trucks and different vehicles, where a huge number of individuals are resting in the roads, near the ocean, on the sand behind the ocean side, in any suitable space. In northern Gaza, many thousands are getting by with lacking food supplies in the midst of a practically complete breakdown of common request and re-established battle. In al-Mawasi, a piece of sandy coast west of Rafah where there is no water, little food, and no sterilization, new settlements cover an obscure number. They are there since al-Mawasi enjoys two major benefits. Its fine soil makes it difficult to dig the passages that Hamas has worked under the remainder of Gaza, and there are no tall structures. The two elements make the region more secure, say the people who have searched out the zone. There are likewise no underground focuses on that might draw on an Israeli airstrike, and there are no neighbors above or beneath whose personality obscure to even the people who live so close due to the disorder of mass dislodging may do likewise. 12 unique situations have been drifted for the organization of the region and the existences of its 2.3 million broken, hungry, damaged occupants. None are persuading, investigators say. These reach from the Association of the Palestinian Power, which is being moved by the U.S. yet dismissed by Israel, to some sort of nearby government by groups and power brokers in Gaza, which is inclined toward by Israel yet considered completely impossible by pretty much every eyewitness. Few accept that any sort of global peacekeeping power can be set up, or that the inlet states will set up the huge aggregates important for recreation. The outcome is a sluggish slide to the default choice, where the ones who can summon the most coercive power assume command. In Israel, the possibility that Israeli authorities ought to run Gaza straightforwardly is building up speed. The best arrangement for the day after is Israeli, boots on the ground, and an Israeli, common organization that works in the Gaza Strip, composed observer Nadav Shragai in Israel Hayom, a paper near the public authority. Whatever else would be impermanent and fleeting, best-case scenario, and the worst situation imaginable, it would be a hoax and vanity every step of the way. Numerous who have watched the conflict develop over a portion of a year accept that any conversations about another post-struggle time are diluting and lost. The what we ought to do on the following day discussion feels dreamlike, said one veteran guide official situated in Washington. It depends on presumptions that this thing will be over soon. I stress that it will be going on like this for quite a while. Family members of prisoners held in Gaza realize there is no time to spare and are squeezing for a respite to permit their delivery. After a break in threats, Palestinians and Israelis could contemplate future choices, some said. Gil Dickman, a brain science understudy in Tel Aviv whose 39-year-old cousin Carmel Gat was snatched by Hamas and is as yet being held in Gaza, accepts that the complete triumph more than once guaranteed Israelis by Netanyahu is a deception. It won't end that way. This is a totally different conflict. Yet it's anything but an endless struggle. We have been carrying on with this my entire life as a 31-year-old Israeli. We saw on October 7th that you can't deal with the contention oversees you, said Dickman, who is requiring an interruption now to permit his cousin and the wide range of various prisoners to be liberated. It will require investment to end 100 years' struggle, however it tends to be finished.